YouTube, welcome back to another. Today we are coming off the back of our second top. We managed to get 6th place at another prestigious world famous Scottish regional, and unfortunately I went X1 and just missed out on the top 4 because of terrible tiebreakers apparently. But hey, that's okay. I set out with one goal and one goal only in mind going into this regional, and that was Operation Get Scythe Banned. If I could defeat every other duelist present, having not really played TCG at all since Master Duel, then this card deserves to be banned because of its frivolous, easy wins that it offers. I obviously failed in that regard. The extra deck is what got me a game loss. Yes, you heard that correct. I unfortunately had to suffer a game loss. Yes, you are hearing that correct. I got a game loss, a deck list error. So, on my deck list, you see I put a wrong card that wasn't present. I managed to pair up against one of the best players at the regional, and I won the dice roll. And you would think to yourself, that's it. I won the dice roll. I'm going to scythe him. GG. Unfortunately, despite winning the dice roll, I lost to myself. So I was working off of an old deck list on Dueling Book. And on Dueling Book, for many formats ago, I was playing Masquerena, which I later changed today to Breaksword, a second Breaksword. So I was playing 2 Breaksword at the regional, but on my list I had 1 Breaksword, 1 Masquerena. And I got a game loss, which was really unfortunate. So despite winning the dice roll, I managed to lose that game. So that was very heartbreaking. But overall, you know, the extra deck was quite perfect. This is our deck here, and there, ladies and gentlemen, is the man himself. El Criminale Artifacto Sit. And unfortunately, it managed to steal basically every one of my victories this weekend. What a great card. So, we played the 1 copy of the Artifact Scythe, of course. There is a world in where you can play more of these, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's how good it is. If you open it, you just skip a step. You don't need to make Dagda, just verte pass. Okay, don't actually do that, but yeah, wow, this card needs to be banned. I don't know. It's almost as if, who could have seen that such a card would be a problem in the future? Who could have called this? Who could have seen this coming? I don't know. But anyway, here's our Phantom lineup right here with the 3-3-2-1-1, the double Fog Blade, 1 Wing, and 1 Brigandine. So yeah, these ratios are pretty well established and known. I don't think there's any disagreement with any of this. Some people play 3rd Fog Blade, which I understand, just feels a little bit weaker going 2nd. The Shade Brigandine, I think some people cut, but I don't know, dude, I love this card. Yeah, no, that's your basic Phantom Knight lineup, and I don't think this is really interchangeable. So this deck is very fun and extremely enjoyable for me, so I was happy to play this again. Just unfortunate we had to use such a terrible win condition. So I guess like for the pseudo extenders, I play Foolish Rota, 1 Junk Forward, 2 Sidekicks, and the 3 E-Tellies, so altogether that gives me about 7-8-ish extenders depending on the situation. OCG lists basically don't play any sort of like extender lineup, and coming over here with the new format, the Brave Engine, I think it's kind of important in TCG to do because we don't have Max C, so yeah, these worked out really well. I don't really feel like there's any other extenders you would want to play. You don't need that many really, as long as you can put 2 monsters on the field, you at least get Verte with your defensive cards. I think that's a decent number of extenders here. And of course, we're playing the Brave Engine, which I'm assuming a lot of people might not be aware of how it works right now. So I'll explain very quickly how it functions. You can activate the Enchantress from the hand to banish itself to search the spell. The spell then activates to summon a token onto the field, which places this face up, and then when you normal or special summon a monster, you can add the equip spell, and then you can also add the second effect of this, which adds a monster from your deck to your hand. That's the Griffin, and then discard a card from your hand, but usually you can just discard the equip that you added, which then re-equips itself onto the token. Basically, this guy just gives you an Omni Negate as you go into your Cherubini, or if you just hard draw this, you can set up an Omni Negate, and Cherubini can send a different resource instead. I feel like if you aren't playing the Brave Engine in your deck this format, then you're a little bit behind. It just seems extremely staple. Different decks, Tenyi, Dragon, Virtual World, everything can play the Brave Engine, and I think like that's definitely a mandatory thing that everyone should be doing. So with particular focus on this deck, because of the fact that you have Cherubini to send it, just means that you're going to see it almost every game. And these cards are really powerful. They break boards just by themselves. I would highly recommend you play this in basically everything that doesn't need a very important normal summon effect. So normally you would think, oh well, Torrent Scale is a normal summon effect. The thing with Torrent Scale is that you can bring it back from the graveyard and then use this effect as a non-normal summon. So it has an extreme amount of synergy with this deck, and you would absolutely have to play Phantom Knight with this Brave Engine. You saw last format, Phantom Knight did basically nothing. And if Phantom Knight is going to do anything relevant in this format, it's going to be because of these cards. So I played a lot of defensive cards because they're probably quite necessary right now, and that is the 3 Ash Blossom hand traps, the Call by the Grave to stop Scythe, as well as the Droplet to try and stop Scythe and all the other combo boards that people are building and breaking. You could argue that maybe there needs to be more hand traps in here. I was thinking of playing a Designator package, so that instead of some of the hand traps, you play like the 3 Designator and then one of a couple of hand traps. The most important reason about Designator is that against Scythe, you can designate Scythe, which I think is a huge, massive problem this format. I did kind of want to try that out, but I guess I just went with the old faithful sort of, you know, droplet hand traps and hope for the best. So that's really the best way to, you know, handle this, I suppose. I think I had enough of them. What am I at? Like 8 defensive cards altogether. You should be trying to like see 1 or something in your opening hand at the minimum. Droplet being the absolute trump card that it is. And I feel like this deck specifically has a lot of synergy with Droplet because of all the graveyard resources. So in this specific deck, I think Droplet is definitely a staple. And hey, it put in a lot of work for me this weekend, so I can't complain. And the final engine that we played, of course, was Fusion Destiny, losing the 3rd copy of the Fusion Destiny, making it a little less consistent. But hey, I actually hard opened Fusion Destiny once or twice today, so I can't really complain too much. It actually established better and stronger boards because you don't need to go into Verte. You just skip a step, you can make a Break Sword and do the play that plays around Droplet instead, which I did once. So yeah, definitely mandatory. Did see the Dasher and then Celestial once each today, so we played the standard Bardiche. The Almirage, if your hand is really bad and it's full of defensive cards and you only have 1 Phantom Knight, you can go into Almirage into Verte, which is at the very minimum, you know, DPE. I think this is like one of the few flex spots that exist in this deck, and basically every Phantom Knight that you can possibly draw just by itself, even the bad ones except Staingreaves, should make Almirage. Dagda, of course, gets you the Scythe. Unicorn for going second alongside the Access Code Talker. Here's the Masquerada. This, you know, obviously shouldn't be Masquerada, so I guess I'll put it to the side, but, you know, this should be the 2nd Break Sword, unfortunately. This new card here was amazing. Dark. It's the new Charmer monster, but for dark attributes. Who would have thought that the strongest attribute in the game would finally get one of their own? Great thing about this in the mirror match is that if you don't get Scythed, you can summon him and then bring back your opponent's DPE from their graveyard and then pop another of your cards to pop another of their cards, and then you can use him and another guy to make another Verte, and then you end on 2 DPE. And then on their standby phase, they have to bring back a crappy Dasher or something. Dark is extremely, extremely amazing with DPE running around. Basically, any deck that can make a Dark should play this. Of course, there's the Verte, the Cherubini, the Link Spider for the Brigadine to make an effect monster. That's why you play this, because of the Verte. Downard Zeus combo, which won me a game against Ogdodic. Don't ask! Leviair. The Break Sword, which there should be 2 of these, and of course the 1 DP. And that is the extra deck. The only real flex spot here would be, like, I guess maybe the Almirage, the 2nd Break Sword, or I think that's it, actually. I think you kind of need all of these. There's nothing much you really need after that, honestly. It kind of covers all bases quite nicely. Side deck for Backro decks, because it's original. I expected to see some sort of Eldritch variant or Guru deck or something. Yep, just these. I drew this one-off reboot against Revs, so shoutouts to him. Give me some like points, am I right, boys? Token Collector, because I suppose there's a couple of good Auradon combo decks running around, as well as obviously Sword Soul. Didn't play against any, unfortunately. I saw a lot of Tri-Brigade. What the hell is that about? The 2nd Ghost Ogre, I think. Yeah, this was my 15th side deck card. And then Lancia Nibiru. You think like Nibiru is like quite bad this format? I can understand. Obviously, your opponent just goes, haha, Brave Engine. But because you're playing so many defensive cards, you just have to draw 2 of them together to stop your opponent from establishing Scythe. It sounds bad, but the problem is like there isn't really good solutions to Scythe. Like, how do you stop Scythe? Like, I'm playing the Droplets, I'm playing the Call by the Grave. So like, what more can you possibly do to deal with Scythe, right? And so I think you just have to play Nibiru, even though it feels bad. I'm sure there's better cards out there. We'll see how the format develops and what the really smart players come up with, but I guess like this is like, you just have to play this crap card, even though it's not great right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I apologize, and I'm very sorry for failing in my mission of Operation Get Scythe banned. I do apologize, but I tried my hardest. Thanks you for everyone watching. Shoutouts to Raf and the WAF Discord as well for helping me build my side and tune my main, etc. And it's been a great weekend. I will see you hopefully for another regional in a couple of weeks, and we'll see how we do. Peace!